War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by TagMeADate. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space, now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Talk to you.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the War Report After Dark. We got Big Heck returning to the show tonight. We got Al. Ryan, I assume, is going to be on because he was. I was really trying to get the one with Kaiser doing the intro, but we got this one instead, so it's all good. But we got to celebrate Gunther. He is officially going to break the reign of longest IC champion in history, surpassing the Honky Tonk Man.
And his 16 title defenses during that reign for the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah. Can I say that Gunther's ring music is wildly underrated? Probably one of the best songs I've heard in a long time.
Absolutely.
It's even better when Kaiser does the intro, which they haven't been doing lately. And then I thought maybe they were only going to do it during like big matches, so I was expecting it last night and we didn't get it. I was kind of bummed.
Like it's really like an emperor's music. Like they nailed that one.
You know, top three for me is The Brood. That theme song, Open It Up. Yes. You got I really come to like this Gunther one. And then I've always loved the Daniel Bryan one when he came out. That classical thing. Top three for me.
I would probably, for me, I would go with your first two. I would probably remove Daniel Bryan and put Randy Orton.
That's your music when you call me, which you haven't called me in like 4 years, so I haven't heard it.
That's funny. Some things will never change.
I gotta go with that. You're right, but I gotta throw Degeneration X in there.
Classic. You can't go.
I have to go with the first heel I ever loved in my life, which is Razor Ramon's song. Like that's so badass.
That's a good one too.
That is a good one. So badass.
That is a good one too. So listen, before we really dive in, David Roska started sending comments in before we ever went live, so we're gonna go through them real quick. Trish Stratus kicked ass inside the steel cage against Becky Lynch. We will definitely go over Payback. Trish Stratus shows that she is the second perfect 10 for a reason, next to the living legend Nadia Comaneci. Whatever. Gunther will be stopped. Okay, and and gymnastics. So, David, welcome as usual. I do want to get into Payback, but before we do, let's just get this over with. So, we got to address CM Punk.
Can I go first?
Absolutely, you can. We're all right. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me get my opinion.
No, this is off topic. So you can see what shirt I have on. I wasn't on last week. Man, I say I was devastated. I still cannot believe it. It breaks my heart. Breaks my heart.
Yeah.
My son has the Fiend fat head above his bed at night. I'm a fan. I got all the toys. I got the Funkos. I got all that. So for me, this and that guy was number one for me, right? All time. I don't care. You talk about Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Razor Ramon, The Rock, Stone Cold. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt is my number one forever, right?
Listen, we talked about him a lot. We talked about him a lot. We did a little tribute to him.
I know. But I had to give you my own, and I'm sorry I cut in.
No. You can always cut in. Yeah, it sucks. And it's not getting any more real, I guess. I don't know. It's just we shouldn't even have to be talking about it. But when you say one of the greatest of all time, without a doubt, I was saying it last week as an all around, superstar. Where it comes to a guy that can cut a promo, he can cut a promo, he can work his ass off in the ring.
Ryan, can we be a professional here? What's up?
So I just he's the total package. He's everything that you would need to look like in a superstar.
Amen.
He will be missed. There's not going to be anybody ever like him. No.
No. And you know what sucks? If I can, one more thing, we'll never know what Undertaker said to him, and that's the part that I sit here and I'm like, motherfucker.
Well, Undertaker can still tell us. Undertaker can still tell us.
He won't. It's against Bray's wishes, right? He said he'll take that to the grave, and he did.
Yes.
You talk about a grave, right? I think Undertaker knows something about a grave, so I don't think we'll ever find out.
Yeah, I agree. I think he takes it to his grave. All right, so CM Punk. I want to just say my piece, and then we'll go around. All right, but here's my deal, and we've had time now to let this marinate and whatever. Eric said in our group chat something about we will, no matter what we say, no matter what we think, if he re-signs with WWE, we're going to mark out and we're going to be, back to loving CM Punk and this and that. And I said, I won't. And he said, you say that now. And here's the thing. I was always a fan of CM Punk, and I marked the fuck out when he came back after 9 years or 7 years and went to AEW. And I was all behind it. And what it boils down to is that the WWE is on such a roll right now. In my opinion, they can't afford to inject cancer into that locker room. And, am I saying that it's probably all CM Punk's fault? Maybe not. But if you look at the situation per their investigation, Punk is the one that got fired, not Perry. He is indefinitely suspended. He's not fired, so he'll be back. So that should tell you something. And he is supposed to be the locker room leader. He's not a rookie. He should be leading by example, And if you're picking fights with everybody on the fucking roster, then you're doomed from the beginning. And he did it once in WWE, and I'm not convinced he wouldn't do it again. And I think at this point, Wembley Stadium should have been his last final hurrah and call it a day. Heck, why don't we start with you and we'll go around?
I mean, you said it, man. I was a mark for him too. I loved him when he was in WWE. I waited 8-9 months to listen to the Colt Cabana podcast when he finally spoke out about being fired,
right?
Or when he left. I mean, that was huge, right? And then to see him come back, I watched. I'm not an AEW fan. I know nothing about what happened at All In, All Out, All Your Mom. I don't know nothing about AEW, right? I can't speak on it, but
we need to change
AEW that first night. You know what? If you could sway me, please. I haven't caught on.
I will say this: if there's anyone that can, we already know who it can be. So we'll talk.
All right. So I watched though, right when he came back. I thought that was cool. I was happy to see, but then nothing. It was as if it didn't catch on for me. And then to keep hearing all the stories similar, how he was acting in AEW versus how he was acting in WWE prior. It was just the same old Punk, same old stuff, same old thing. And, when you see he got, into the fight with the Elite, had that issue. And then now you hear about this thing. It's it can only be everyone else's fault, but so many times. I think you're right when you said it's a cancer. Yeah, it's definitely a cancer, right? And sometimes you got to cut it out. And hey, you know what? In the end, they cut it out quickly and swiftly, right? You gave somebody a second shot, something else happens, you got to go. How many times can you be given a second, third, fourth shot? It doesn't happen.
And here's my other thing too, right? I mean, let's think about this, right? He comes back. He makes this triumphant return at the Royal Rumble, right? He doesn't get main event at WrestleMania for any reason, and it's going to be an issue. You know what I mean? That was one of his biggest beefs, that he never got the main event spot at a WrestleMania. So what? We're going to rehash the same bullshit? He's not going to change. No. It's all about ego. He's not willing to put ego aside.
10 years later, right? Literally, because it was 2014. So you're talking about 10 years later, come Mania 40, and it'll be the same old thing. Who's better than him at that point? You still have Roman Reigns that you have to leapfrog. You still have Cody Rhodes, who's 100% going to be in the main event of WrestleMania 40. Even on, you talk about night 1 or night 2, right? He's not going to take being the main event of night 1 as his WrestleMania moment. You can give him night 1 all you want. To him, that's not the Mania, main event. At the end of the day, though, it's the same old thing. Are we going to go back 10 years and have Triple H come out again and cut another promo saying, look what happened. I told you 10 years ago. Now you come back. Now, look, you did it again in your previous company, right?
Right.
How many times are we going to do callbacks, right? It's done. That guy should retire into the sunset, do a few indie shows here and there, do a few Comic-Cons and all that, get some signing money.
And listen, if you go out saying that your last match was against one of your biggest rivals ever at Wembley Stadium amongst 82,000 people, that's not a bad way to go out.
No. I went out in front of 300. I'm happy with that.
You're right. You're absolutely right that it's not a bad way to go out, but it's not going to be how Phillip Brooks wants to go out.
Doesn't matter what he wants.
I understand that. And I don't think the WWE should pick him back up again either. I agree with that 1,000%, but this is not the last time that we're going to hear from him in some way, shape, or form, because now he's going to go start trash talking AEW the same way that he trash talked WWE to try and keep himself relevant and everything like that, because he cannot. And I love CM Punk. I can't stand what he's been doing, but I've been a CM Punk fan since Ring of Honor. But anyone that knows him knows that he's not going to shut up. So he's going to sell this for a book deal. He's going to do whatever to trash talk whomever, because he's going to try and keep himself relevant, and he's going to try to keep April relevant because of the work that she's doing with that other independent company.
Let him make his money. Make his money. I mean, whatever. Write your books, do your press shows, do whatever, man.
And he's also on Heels, so he's getting paid for that.
There you go. You got his money.
He just finished on Mayans MC too. He was in the last 3 seasons of that show.
Yeah. Al, go ahead.
I really look at this like a business decision. Like I know we're all looking at it like an emotional. It's like, oh, that's fucked up. He shouldn't come back. And I know you, Steve. I know how you get. So, but the way I really look at this is a storyline based. Like you could bring that Scott Hall going to WCW as a, hey, you know who I am and you know where I'm at, but you don't know while I'm here type shit. And you give that sort of storyline and put your own twist to it, and money talks. Like,
but at this point, is it worth taking the risk of great storyline,
right,
to fucking up your locker room?
And not only that, Scott Hall's storyline going into WCW, Scott Hall didn't have any real beef with anybody. That was a total work, aside from losing his, leaving the WWF at the time, but he never left on real bad terms. It was a business decision, like you said.
Right.
We all know, because of social media and everything that goes on now, what he did. We had no idea about the stuff with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and all that stuff when the NWO started, because there was no way for us to find out. It was all kayfabe. We don't have that anymore. It wouldn't work the same way.
It's still a story. At the end of the day, just because we know it doesn't mean we're not going to watch it. Like most of these matches, we go into knowing what might happen, and we get confused once in a while. But at the end of the day, if it's told correctly, we will follow. And
Well-
again, you're not talking about a guy that is a okay wrestler. It is CM Punk. And like I've always told Steve, if Hulk Hogan could come back to WWF after starting their biggest rival competition, I mean, look, anything is possible. If he could come back, anybody could come back.
Al, you make good points, and you're on the cusp of making me want to see this, and I appreciate that because that's cool, right? I could see the storyline. I could see the storyline part. I could see everything, right? Imagine the amount of merch. I mean, from a business standpoint, WWE, they're like, oh hell yeah, and we get to bury AEW on our television show. We get to bury this competition, right? I can see them thinking that.
Yeah.
Will it work? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, they've always held themselves to a higher standard, and I don't think that they've ever went to the lengths of talking down, like kind of like an MJF who always name drops people from WWE and all that stuff. So doing that, is that kind of like a step down for WWE? Do they see it as like dealing with, that other company? We'll see. But Al, you kind of made me. Maybe it's the Jack, but I don't know.
Me and him got some issues.
Yes, talking smack about AEW.
Me and him got some issues now.
Oh no.
There's no issues because he hasn't
last person
really
I want
given
to
it
fight
a
is
chance.
you.
He hasn't really given it a chance. So
to know what it's about.
Well, that's his problem, not mine. But with the program, it's 2023. Hello.
I mean, dude, you got to know about MJF.
I know MJF. I just said about it. Like I said, I don't watch it week in and week out, but I know who the guys are there, right? And I hear the storyline, and this MJF Adam Cole storyline has been pretty cool. I followed along with that.
It's been fantastic.
I haven't, like I said, I'm not week in, week out like I am with WWE, but I'm not totally in the dark.
Okay. There's so
please
much
don't
more.
beat me up, okay? Please, I don't want to get
There's so much more important things in wrestling than Punk, obviously, but all I have to say is this. For those that claim they don't want him involved in anything ever again or that he means nothing to them, he sure does live rent-free in some people's minds, LOL. I mean, that's very true. I mean, listen, there are some great matches and great stories that can be told, 1,000%. I'm just worried that he's just going to start drama in the back. And listen, maybe he won't,
But look, Steve, so for instance, right, I could compare that to
Eric, by the way.
You remember like the New England Patriots that Bill Belichick didn't have a problem bringing in a Corey Dillon or a Randy Moss because he has strong character captains on his team. I think in WWE, you got even if he's older than them, you got well-established wrestlers that are going to hold their ground. And like you said, like Big Heck was saying, this is WWE. We are the big brothers. So if you come in here, you're going to have to act a certain way. And you keep them on a short leash. If it doesn't happen, you sell some merch, made a couple of deals, called it a day. Besides that, it's the only reason I'm saying, like, look, do I think they should do it? Absolutely not. But I'm just saying the business aspect of it makes me think a little further. And it's like, ooh, this might go a certain way that might be interesting to us.
I do agree that from a business standpoint, it makes sense. 1,000%. I do.
Kind of iffy because don't forget, like Wembley Stadium was not behind him. A lot of places he's been getting booed ever since the shit that happened from the first altercation.
He's getting a reaction, though. Getting booed doesn't really mean
exactly.
Shit. He's getting a reaction.
But it's not heat for him being a wrestler. It's heat from the real shit he does. That's the difference.
Well, that's true.
They're not booing CM Punk. They're booing Phillip Brooks. That is a major difference.
If AJ comes along, does that change anybody's tune?
No.
If we guarantee we get AJ back in the women's division?
I would love to see AJ
I
back.
would love to see AJ with or without him.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to me if he's around or not. AJ Lee was an incredible performer in her own right that had nothing to do with Phillip Brooks whatsoever.
Until they had that storyline where it was like the Daniel O'Brien.
It was one storyline or whatever.
But AJ Lee.
Were they even a couple then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They started dating in 2014. Yeah.
Well, there's that.
Wait, how long ago? I was in first grade.
Very good.
Jeez.
Yeah, right.
Making me feel old.
Yeah.
All right, does that
3 mortgages in.
I graduated in 3 years.
Does anyone have anything else they want to add to the CM Punk saga before we continue?
No, let's continue.
Yeah. It's been beaten to death.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Well,
gotta go to bed. My mom's kicking me off. I'll be commentating from my phone.
there is.
21, my birthday. Bye.
We're gonna.
Bye, Al.
Bye.
We're gonna go over the matches. Obviously, we'll go over the card, give our input.
Sorry, she's an honorary member.
There was one big takeaway that got me very excited. So he basically took 3 weeks off to, to do his own theme song.
Repackaged.
Which I got
in 3 weeks.
Right. Which I gotta tell you, I like his version more than I like Jimmy's new version.
Yep.
But I also think it's kind of strange that he deuced us and oosed us and then was back 3 weeks later just on Raw. So, who is this? Jimmy's music is butt crack.
That's Autumn.
I happen to agree.
That's what she said. Y'all thought you could get rid of me. So now she's instead of sitting here, she's invaded the chat room.
I don't know that's her because it just is.
Oh, I know my kid's handwriting.
But yeah, so
which
he's
one
back.
of the adults would write butt crack?
I know plenty of adults that would write butt crack, actually. Yeah. I am not a good example of that.
You're giving adults too much credit.
Yeah, seriously.
No, we would have put fucking butt crack or something.
Well, that's very fair too. All right. So so what do we always know, right? Here's another. Jay is literally
so much better. Like, come on now, we all know this. Like I said, that's my kid. I can translate her.
That's when you know you're getting old, when they type it away and you can't even make out what it says.
Yeah.
So listen.
That's what my text message and my phone look like all day, every day. So
that would drive me crazy. So they opened up with Trish and Becky Lynch in the cage. David Roska was very happy with Trish's performance. I honestly think that was one of the best matches of the whole pay-per-view.
Agreed.
They beat the shit out of each other. Trish looks like a train wreck. If that is her final match, what a hell of a way to go out.
Mm-hmm.
She literally came back and participated in every match that they weren't allowed to do then. So at this point, if she rides off, she rides off. But they put on a hell of a match. I loved every bit of that match. What did you guys think?
Flowers.
Right?
Flowers.
Yeah.
I
Definitely
mean,
a great match.
You could go off into the sunset, right? Be happy as could be. All your fans are happy. You killed it. You came back as a baby. You came back as a heel. I mean, you hit every aspect of your character throughout your career. I mean, you did it. What more can we ask for, right? Everybody always says one more match. We just got, everything we needed.
Right.
That's my point.
And then some.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was well done. Kat, you want to translate?
Trish and Becky was mid. I didn't like that match. In the words of MJF, mid. Like it was a mid-card match in her opinion.
Okay. So yeah.
We wanted Truth to win, so that also has to do with that.
I get it.
We had our own pick'em in the house, so
I just don't understand if that was her farewell match. Why, unless he was just putting this girl over, why that transaction at the end of her just knocking her out instead of just letting the crowd, acknowledge her for her job. Like I think that would have been a nicer send off.
Well, so she did get that, but it went to commercial for us to see. But the digital exclusive on WWE.com, she did get a thank you, Trish, from the crowd.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected then.
Yeah, we didn't see it, but when they raised the cage and were getting ready for the next match, she got her thank you, Trish.
I will say this though, if this was her final match, she's going to come out and cut a promo and do a farewell, send off. Like I don't think she's just gonna. Maybe she'll come and leave the boots in the middle of the ring. She'll do something to. I don't think this isn't the last we've seen of Trish before she says anything, in my opinion. Especially if they didn't provide that footage to everyone that was watching.
Yeah.
On Peacock.
My only thing is, did we see her elevate Zoe Stark in a way that she would not have been otherwise if she wasn't paired with Trish? Did she come out of this looking even more of a badass or what?
So here's what I will say. Anybody that listens to this show knows how I feel about Zoe Stark. And my answer to that question is absolutely fucking not. She's still trash and I can't stand her. Oh, thank you.
About a month ago, I was against Steve. I kept going like, nah, give her a shot. But I think I'm gonna say the same damn thing Steve just said, because I don't think she came out winning out of this. I think she had a better shot coming by herself, because this was too much pressure on her, and she didn't live up to it, being her second.
Yeah, I don't. And then the next night, 2 nights later, you have Shayna Baszler cut a promo.
Yeah.
Backstage with you. Who came out of SummerSlam looking like pure ass going against Ronda Rousey? What are you going to – I mean, I'm not following where we're going with those two.
I will say this.
Someone
it was
in the
actually
chat tell me if
it was a good match. And then flowers were pretty much given to Zoe from Shayna, which kind of pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
I don't know.
We just swipe. Next.
My mom and I even said that 20 seconds with her and Trish was her best ring work.
I wonder who that person's mom is.
She's talking about getting knocked. Yeah, she's like, the best work was like her literally taking the slap from Trish. Like, wow, that was the best thing you ever did. You took a slap from Trish Stratus.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, we have John Cena as special guest referee against The Miz and L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
That was a great match, quite honestly.
I thought it was great.
It was a great match.
I thought it was really good.
Very entertaining.
And it was fun actually having John Cena as the referee.
Yeah, I think it added to it.
Yeah.
Now, I will go on record, and I text Steve not much long ago, right? I think during that match, and I said something about LA Knight. I love him, right? I'm on board, right? I'm on this train. Something about his matches just don't flow with me. I'm not catching on, right? It was a boring match with The Miz. Yes, Cena was in there, so that added some intrigue. But it was a boring match. I didn't think it was a great match. I thought it was an okay match. So I'm not on board with you on that, Steve. I liked it, but I'm not going to say, oh, my God, that was the most amazing. That was Steamboat Savage WrestleMania 3. But
well, yeah, no, I'm not saying
something for,
no, I don't think anybody.
You get what I'm saying.
That though. That's the problem.
But something about his matches for me don't click. And I think he's got, for everyone saying, oh, yeah, it's time. I don't think we're there yet, because I don't think he's going to deliver. How many botches have we seen? How many bad spots have we seen? Even his promos, right? He stumbles words a lot.
He's been stumbling even last night.
A lot. I mean, when you put him against somebody like Miz, he stumbled twice against Miz, right? He had the chance to go with John Cena. He stumbled in John Cena's promo. So, yes, he's a top, in the eyes of everybody, he's a top guy. But right now, I think he's got a lot of work to do.
I mean, yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because my thing with him is I don't see him as that wrestler, like those wrestlers you named before. I think he's a couple of notches under that, but I guess his charisma that he has and his mic skills make him a little bit better. But I think I spoke to Steve. Wasn't it like a month ago? We were saying that he was on SmackDown, and I said, you know what? It was the first time when he first started with the Miz, the first encounter they had in the ring. He started stumbling there, and for some reason, I don't know if the Miz promos are a little too good for him, and this is like the top level guy, like he's faced on the mic back and forth, but he hasn't looked the part lately. So I think that's the reason he hasn't really been given the shot. Like for real, thinking about it, it makes sense.
I definitely can't argue any of that. I mean, it was evident again even last night during Raw. It's happening. I mean, I didn't want to come across as say like it was like the greatest match ever. To me, it was a great match. Like to me, it was just a match. Like Miz is good at getting people over. So maybe it was more Miz. I don't know. But I think Al's right when you talk about the charisma and everything. That adds quite a bit to the mystique or credibility of LA Knight.
Is Miz the new Big Show or Mark Henry in that we could feed people, right? The Miz, and he elevates them like those guys used to?
I mean, I think so. I mean, what was the last big feud you saw him in before this? He's been off for a while. Yeah. Maybe they're going to start having him involved in more stuff because Miz and Mrs. is probably coming back soon, so they're going to promote it. But yeah, I think he's becoming almost like a Dolph Ziggler at this point. He's good at doing a month-long story and getting somebody over.
Yeah, I mean, and my other thing was like he's the most underrated. I don't know if I shouldn't say underrated. I think he is highly undervalued as somebody who's been in the company so long. I mean, Grand Slam twice, right? He's the only person that's ever done that.
Yeah.
But a quiet double Grand Slam, right? I mean, and that speaks to his value.
Yeah.
Longevity, all the accolades, and what he could do for up and comers. So,
to think about too, it all started with him on the Real World creating this Miz character in a bathroom mirror with a Toys R Us, Velcro belt. Toy belt, and then look at him now, and on top of it got Maurice. I mean,
that's the only thing you need.
He hit the Grand Salami.
Yeah, well, with the Maurice comes a Marjo.
Hey, Marjo is worth every penny. That woman is fucking amazing. I love that woman. All right, so moving back on through the card, we had Mysterio and Theory.
What does Autumn say? Mid?
I still could care less about Austin Theory.
Same.
Mid AF.
What?
Mid AF. I think that's what the kids say now.
That's what they start kicking around.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're saying anymore.
I'm over it.
Great. Now I speak 4 languages.
No, I'm so tired of Theory. I'm tired of Rey Mysterio, to be honest with you. Legend, great. I'm happy. He did everything.
Yeah.
I'm over it, man.
I am too. It's doing nothing for me. But one of the I also up there in one of the best matches of the night, you had the Steel City Street Fight Undisputed Tag Championships, Owens and Zayn versus Baylor and
Priest. No, Finn Balor. I'm sorry.
No, Finn Balor and Priest.
Right.
Yeah. So, I thought that match was absolutely awesome. It turned out exactly the way I figured it would with the interference, and we now have the Judgment Day all with gold.
Yep.
And we have been kind of saying for a while, it's just a matter of time before we see them all with gold. So, what do we think? I thought that match was entertaining as hell.
I love the hockey
Ripley
spot.
Speared Kevin Owens. How much better does it get?
I showed my buddy that, and he's instant response. She can spear me, mommy.
The whole match was really good. Like, even Kevin Owens with the swanton and everything, that was like insane.
Which he definitely looks like he overshot, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
But it looked great.
But it looked, yeah, exactly. But how many people actually caught that except for like, diehards or whatever? It looked good.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn coming out of the penalty box with Penguins jerseys was great too.
Yeah, that was a good spot.
And Cole flubbing the Pirates and Penguins was pretty funny.
But all around, it was a great match. I kind of saw it coming with Owens and Sammy losing the belts. And now you have to start worrying. Now we got to figure out what's going to happen with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Are they going to stay together, or are they going to go their separate ways again? Which we'll get more into when we get to Monday Night Raw. But all around, great match. Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes. That's where we got the announcement that Jay was moving to Monday Night Raw. One thing I think at a pay-per-view, you don't have the talk shows. That's my only thing. I've always said it. It takes away, even when they do it at WrestleMania, to me, it doesn't belong. That's a Raw, that's a SmackDown, that's an NXT thing. But that's my opinion. But
I'll agree for that for right now, but you can't tell me Piper's Pit at WrestleMania 5 was not the shit.
That's an exception. Because you weren't getting it all the time, too. You know what I mean? Like, that was...
I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
However...
There's always exceptions to the rule.
Stone Cold The Rock?
No, I'm talking the Piper's Pit with Stone Cold and Carlito was the shits.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Just making a joke. I'm sorry.
Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea Ripley. I mean, that was another one I thought was a great match.
Pretty good match.
And I'm also glad to see that Rhea kept the title.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But it didn't make Raquel look weak in any way, shape, or form in that match either, though. It put Raquel over, even though she didn't win. So that was a good thing, because I didn't want to see her get squashed.
Right. She did. They did.
I agree.
I thought it was a very good match. It was a good match. Good ending. Protects her. Of course, with Dirty Dom coming in once again to save his mommy.
He played a big part of that pay-per-view.
Oh, he plays, bro. He's like the MVP.
That was just what I was gonna say.
He's the MVP of like WWE, literally, like all. NXT, Raw, SmackDown. He's everywhere.
I love him.
How good was his promo with Jay backstage last night?
Oh my God,
that was great. I couldn't tell whether he was trying to, entice him into a fight or get him jumped or actually invite him in.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I think the kid's great. As soon as you touch a microphone and you have 15,000 people boo you, what more reaction do you need?
We say it week after week. He throws more heat than anyone in the company.
Ever. I think ever.
Dude, it's the...
Can you say anybody ever more? I don't think I've ever seen anybody get that nuclear every week after week for months on it.
Vicky. Never heard a boo like that.
Yeah.
No.
And you know what?
Who said what? Vicky. Oh, Vicky. Yeah, that's a good
one.
Oh,
that's up
that's
there.
A good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
But you know what, though? Yeah. For a kid that started during the Thunderdome COVID era, that had no audience participation whatsoever until his first match at a WrestleMania, he has come so far, and he's so damn talented. The heat is well-deserved heat because he's doing his job right.
I mean, to walk out on your dad's Hall of Fame speech, that is that's gonna garner you some true heat.
Or to punch your dad on Christmas in his own house. Like, I mean,
they've done a great job with him.
A great job. Yeah, a great job.
But don't forget like the kid's kendo stick beating that he took during the Thunderdome. I mean, that kid took an ass whooping.
Yeah. Well, that's your initiation.
Yeah, exactly. But you take the initiation, there's no crowd.
Well,
yeah.
They were all on the screen.
Yeah, but as I'm saying, but to have
somebody shooting a gun.
That's my dog in his cage.
Sounds like gunshots.
Yeah, I had to take mine out because
I was like cat duck.
I don't live in that bad an area, bro. I don't live in that less of a rural area.
So it brings us to the main event. Rollins Nakamura for the title. I got to tell you, the match was good.
Yeah.
But it got boring to me.
Yes.
I don't know. I love both of them, but that match got boring to me.
If you take that match and you put it in 1980s NWA, it told a story. You worked a body part, and you got nuclear heat, and you got the babyface to go over, right? It was textbook wrestling. It wasn't today's modern, right? Everything that you thought it was going to be. And Nakamura's matches have always been like that. What more did you expect? He's not going to jump off the rafters.
Lost.
Yeah,
I wanted to see a cash in. That's what I was upset about.
Well, right, and that was a perfect opportunity. So why
I thought that
we
dynamic
say
was
not
missed
to?
in the match.
It's not that it wasn't a bad match, like you're saying. You know, it was a classic textbook match. You're right. From start to finish, story, everything was great. Compared to what maybe it is because of what modern day wrestling is as a main event. It's like a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown main event. It didn't feel like a pay-per-view main event. That was my only issue. But there was nothing wrong with the match. It just kind of dragged on a little bit.
Maybe that's what it was. It was a solid 30-minute match. Maybe it just went too long.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was longer than 30 minutes.
I think it was too. Yeah, it's like I said.
I think with entrances it was, but I think the actual wrestle time I think was
you got to add 5 minutes for the you know.
You know, thinking about it too. If you really think about it, when was the last time we didn't have a main event in WWE that wasn't either Lesnar, Roman Reigns, or Cody Rhodes?
Yeah.
Like, it's usually those three guys, so it might feel weird that it was only, and no disrespect, but it was only Rollins compared to those three, you know, mega stars per se.
That's true.
I love Rollins, but I mean, he's not at that level because of however the company's pushing him or whatever. You know, they don't garner the same respect, I think.
Right.
The match went 26 minutes.
Okay, so 26 minutes. So David Roscoe over at YouTube, Damian Priest will cash in on Roman Reigns.
No.
I
don't see that.
I don't agree with that either. I don't.
I agree with what Hector said. Yeah.
I think if anybody's cashing in, you're not going to cash it on Roman over Seth Rollins.
I think the precedent was set by Austin Theory. You would cash it in on a fucking United States belt before you cash in on Roman.
Right. Yeah.
He did say that.
Probably better off bringing back the 24/7 belt and having cash in. Jesus.
So that was pretty much all. I mean, all around, I think it was a decent pay-per-view.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it was bad, but I don't think it was like unbelievable.
Well, you know what? We're still coming off of Wembley. So nothing that I mean, unless WWE put out a WrestleMania on Saturday night, nothing was going to top that. And if it's like some of the past WrestleManias, it still may have not topped it.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. If you're comparing the two, there really wasn't much of a comparison.
There's no comparison. So it was like, okay, great. It's a good show. It was a decent pay. It was, but like I said, it's like a WrestleMania versus an in your house.
Right.
Yeah.
Where do we see this Jey Uso story going now?
So that's a very good question.
Is he feeling
first of all, I loved the segment with him and Sammy in the ring.
Yeah.
And the embrace and everything. I thought that was great.
Yep.
What if they start their own bloodline on Monday Night Raw?
Who's they?
Yeah.
Sammy and Uso.
That'd be cool.
You could get a War Games out of it.
You'd have to get another family member, though. You'd have to bring in another Uso somehow.
Like who?
Kevin Owens.
Well, there's
did post something about did go on X talking about Rhea Ripley this week, so maybe Nia
Jax would be solid. Tamina, or you got there's Rikishi's got other sons that are in the indies right now that are doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I mean, do you see them jumping in and jumping right up to the top?
You
know?
need family members.
I think for a story, I wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I'm intrigued. I think Jay jumping over, obviously, I think the biggest thing coming from that is you now allow Cody to jump to SmackDown and, begin a 6-month slow burn with Roman and get them to 40, right? So I think that's probably the biggest thing of that. I don't think there's really much story other than people wanting to get revenge on him, et cetera, for all of the bloodline stuff that he was involved in.
Right.
I think the biggest thing is you get Cody now in place, because how else were they going to do that, right? I mean, let's face it, the brand split is not anything factual, right? You have people switching every day. So at the end of the day, if you want to keep with, the brand split, let's legitimately send Cody to SmackDown. And now we have this opportunity. So
this whole thing was orchestrated really just to get Cody over to SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the obvious story. And then how you play the next 6 months really plays a big part, because are you gonna have Cody win Rumble again?
Right.
I mean, you could have did that if he was on Raw, right? That didn't matter. But
yeah,
if he's gonna win Rumble twice in second time in a row, then it is what it is. But if he's not going to win Rumble, at least now you have him on SmackDown, where you can open up options, right? So maybe somebody else will win Rumble and do something on night 1, where now you open up the door for Cody to go right on Roman for night 2. I think it opens up options. I think that's all that is.
I definitely agree with you. My only problem with Nia coming back is I hope she's become a safe worker.
That's Sarah.
Doesn't everyone?
What was that? That was Tara?
Yeah.
I can't disagree. I mean, that's always a thing, and hopefully,
has she been on the Indies?
No,
but she's looking.
She hasn't
great.
worked. How's she going to be a safer worker?
Well, no,
you can train all you want in the ring. You can train all you want. You're talking about live crowd working shows.
I mean, listen, too. If she was to first come back, just to be in Jay's corner, for example, she has time to work shit out before she actually gets into a match.
Can she be Jay's heavy? Can she be the heater for Jay?
Why not?
Well, I would love that.
I would love that too.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking good stuff.
That's a good one right there.
Can we make her the heater? That'd be good.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
And she's looking good. She's dropping weight.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't put her back in the shredder costumes.
Well, and that's the other thing. The Power Ranger suit's got to go.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to the top of the hour, but we have to talk about the main event of Monday Night Raw, which was for the Intercontinental title that actually means something again. And it was Chad Gable, who in front of his kids wrestled the match of his life against the reigning Intercontinental champion, who is officially going to be the longest reigning.
Gentlemen.
Now that was the main event.
Intercontinental champion. The Ring General. Gunther.
All right, well, we heard his music earlier, but Ryan, thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course.
So, yeah. What a fucking match. And I'm so glad that here's the thing though. They're setting this up for one more match.
Yep.
And I think this was to allow Gunther to break the record, and I think Chad Gable is going to be the one to officially take the title from him.
Yep.
I really do. I think after that performance where his fucking kids were crying front row, which was amazing. I think they give it to him. I think he's the guy that dethrones Gunther. What do we say?
That
I'm all for it.
is a nominee for match of the year for fucking sure.
Yeah, definitely. It had time too. Like
Yep.
they didn't rush that. It had like close to 40 minutes, I think it started with intros.
That
I mean,
clothesline.
we had time to
that clothesline at the end that officially took him out was the most devastating fucking lariat I've ever seen in my lifetime.
How about that chop when he put him up in the turnbuckle and just went down on him?
Off the top. And the suplex off the top. I mean, you had a lot of good spots on there. And I like how they had the camera on the family a lot.
Yeah.
Always that's you know how Michael Cole says big match feel? That always adds that element, and it just adds one more little piece, and it makes it
especially
more,
especially when the kids are that young.
Yep.
Like they weren't told.
You see them flinch.
Hey, right? Like they weren't told. Hey, listen, make sure you cry and look like concerned during the match. Like that was all. Like these are young kids. Like that's their dad.
Exactly.
Getting chops that you could hear in China. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like.
Good match. I mean, the story was told.
And beyond, that was like the Foley's kids beyond the mat.
Yeah, big guy, small guy. I mean, what more could you ask for, right? David and Goliath. The story's there for future if they want to do a callback. I mean, you have everything in place. Gable can go. Everybody knows that. I don't think that's ever been a question, right? The dude is legit.
He's amazing.
Legit. 100% legit. Gunther is, I know, a year ago we were saying we can never call this guy Gunther. Like it's Walter to everybody here, right? But at the end of the day, like he's built the name. I think the name has kind of grown on everybody, especially with how the ring announcers, throw in the German accent now. And, of course you have his buddy there. I forget his name. What's his name?
Kaiser?
His girlfriend. Yeah, his girlfriend, Tiffany. That girl's smoking out.
Oh, Tiffany Stratton. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his girlfriend. Did you guys know that? She's smoking.
We talked about that last week. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyway. But, to have all those elements, I think the name grew on me too. So that's pretty cool. The match was great. I don't think you could take anything away from that match. I had everything. High spots, dull spots, double downs. I mean, you had everything, right? So way to go. 100%. If I was, what's that guy's name? Meltzer, I'd give it 7 stars. No way around it.
Thank you.
Who's working that board? Is that Ryan? He's on point.
That was me, sir. That is me.
Oh, was it? Oh, I gave you the
Yeah.
flowers.
I created it though.
Oh, thank you. He did. He creates the files for me. I let him know what I want, and then he uploads them up for me. It's great. But
Al, what did you think, man? I want to hear what you thought.
I know what he created a monster.
I did.
It was a great fight, man. I mean, you pretty much covered it all. It told everything, right? You had the nice story with the family. You had a war in the ring, and David comes out of nowhere and rolled this guy over and picks him up like with no issues and slow motion him over his head for a suplex, which was amazing. Like little things like that. It was not little things like that, big things like that. It was just a great match. And I always say, right, there's certain match. Well, we all say it because we all fans and we watch wrestling a lot. There's matches that even when you lose, you don't lose. And this is one of those. Like this guy, he didn't lose last night.
right.
Like he or on Friday. Last night, right?
Last night.
It was last night.
Yeah, he
last
didn't lose last night. He really just had an awesome match.
His
and that's
stock
what we
just
saw.
went up like this.
So hopefully
You know
they
what I
don't
mean?
give up on him, and they do let him get that singles title that he hasn't had yet, because that guy's real legit, man. If he was 3 inches taller, we'll be having a totally different conversation about this guy.
That's a true story. I mean, he really is amazing.
Famous words of Bully Ray, right? I think he says it all the time. He says he may not have, he didn't go over, but he definitely went over, and that's probably more important than actually getting a 3. So that was important.
I mean, who would have thought that he'd be getting the kind of reactions he's getting right now? I mean, it's just amazing. Chad Gable's the real deal. I mean, that match was just. You know what else it is too? What I really, really like with Gunther is 9 times out of 10 when it's a big match, especially Imperium's not with him, and he never cheats to win.
Yep.
Like he wins straight up, and he's a heel, so it would be okay for him to cheat once in a while. He never has.
Nope.
When it comes to a big match, and that's one thing you got to appreciate and like about Gunther, and it's something different for a heel. You know, because most heels, not every time, although some do, but most heels, not every time, but you know, I mean, you don't see it at all out of Gunther, and I appreciate that. I mean, it just raises his stock that much more as a top guy.
And if you noticed throughout the year, 9 times out of 10, when we're talking about pay-per-views or TV shows or everything, we're giving match of the night, nominees for match of the year. We're giving them to every match pretty much that Gunther's in.
Yeah, that's a true story.
I can't count how many times, like we put like the Sheamus Drew McIntyre Gunther match, this match, like it's always got something with him in it because he delivers every single time.
I truly hope they let him and Brock Lesnar go sometime in the future.
Yeah.
I really want to watch that fight. I want to see these two guys fuck each other up.
Yep.
See, like, and for me, that's a Mania match. Like that match should be at a
100%.
WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
Worst case, SummerSlam.
Listen, what
Worst
if,
case.
what if not for the IC title?
Has Brock ever held the IC title?
I don't know.
No.
Only the world title, right?
Yeah.
That's something to think about.
I mean, isn't that like beneath Brock though? You know how he is.
Yeah, but imagine how much more prestige he just brings to that belt.
But Brock won't stay around long enough to defend it like the way Gunther is.
Oh no!
Well, that's true too.
That should. I mean, this
But when
It'll
you
go
win
back
it,
to 16 title defenses like the Honky Tonk Man.
The IC title is one of those belts, though. It ebbs and flows, right? I mean, Miz brought it up, right, when he held that thing for so long, and he built that up. And then whoever he passed it off to just went right back in the dumps. So it's not – the title is not making that, right? The IC title is not making that person. The person is making that IC title. So
Right.
that's one of those belts that really, you know, it's dependent on who has it.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's true. And what they do with it. I mean, look at Chad Gable. He took this stupid gimmick and made it one of the funniest things that I look forward to every week. The shoosh and the thank you and this and that.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just great in the ring. So you're getting everything. You're getting the comedy relief. You're getting great athleticism in the ring. You know, a guy that doesn't make mistakes. He's that good.
Yeah.
He's a young Kurt Angle.
Definitely.
Really, he's as close to a Kurt Angle as you're going to get, in my opinion. And
I mean,
that,
yeah.
like,
In every
and
way
that,
possible.
there's no much, right? And there's no much more respect than that you can give. And on that note, we have reached the top of the hour. Does anybody else have anything they want to add before we wrap?
I'm just going to say I'm glad Lana's back.
Lana
I
is
could have
back.
lived without that.
Lana is best. Lana number one. Sorry.
Anybody
Guys,
else?
thank you for having me. Always
Oh,
a pleasure
big
being here with you guys, man.
We're so glad you were here. Are you kidding me?
Pleasure is all
Love you
ours.
guys.
You know, you're welcome
Yep.
anytime, every week,
Appreciate it,
anytime
guys.
you want to come on, of course. And that brings us to the top of the hour. I want to thank everybody for checking us out tonight and, of course, being in the chat. You guys all know who you are, and we appreciate you guys coming back every single week. Let everybody you know this is your favorite wrestling podcast. Have them check us out on every single solitary streaming service that holds a podcast. We're on it. Either search for The War Report or Tag Me a Date, and you will find us. Check us out. Tell everybody. Come on live. Communicate. Rap with us. All we do is bullshit and talk wrestling, so why wouldn't you want to be on it? But that'll do it for this week. Join us every Tuesday, 9 p.m., our new start time for The War Report After Dark. We appreciate everybody, and we will talk to you next week. Have a great week. And